For this video, I had a subscriber to the channel give me 20 adjectives, 20 words that I could use to describe some board games. Those 20 adjectives are all mixed up here in the box list for the crew. What I'm going to be doing is pulling one at a time out and assigning it to a game. But here's where it gets interesting. I actually don't know what the words are. I do not know what I'm about to pull out of that box. Tricky, panicked, clever. And once I assign an adjective to a game, once I make that decision, it is set in stone. It's locked. I cannot take it back later. So I'm assuming I'm going to start out here with some pretty easy choices, but as I go along, be forced into some pretty tough decisions. And with that, we're ready to jump into our first word here. So first up, we have the word surprising. Surprising, I think, is pretty obvious. Of all the games out here, I think the most surprising one to me is probably going to be King of Tokyo. You never know exactly what's going to happen next in King of Tokyo. You can always take Tokyo and surprise everyone by just having a great roll and killing all the other monsters, or you might think you're winning and someone might just wipe you out. So surprising, easy choice, King of Tokyo. All right, one down. Up next here, we have the word explosive. King of Tokyo could have worked for that too. Explosive should be really easy, but I feel like I have no games in here that necessarily deal with like bombs or explosion or war. So I'm thinking what I'm going to go with is pandemic. Because pandemic, as we all know, once a disease starts spreading, you get these explosions in cities and you put the cubes on all the other ones. And I actually don't know the right, maybe they're called outbreaks. I don't quite know. I always call them explosions. You're like, we just had an explosion. So you put all the cubes out there and it can cause another explosion, chain effect explosion. So explosions are going to go to pandemic. This is super easy so far. I have like nothing to worry about. All right, word number 3 here. Give it a good shuffle. And fierce. Ooh, fierce. I'm choosing to interpret the word fierce in a positive light, and I'm going with the game Dune Imperium. I love Dune Imperium, and it is fierce competition. Every game of Dune Imperium, you feel like you're just dying for 10 points, counting out your path to victory, and everyone else is doing it too, and it is just fierce back and forth competitions. I feel pretty good about that one. I've talked myself into it. Number 4 is going to be the word panicked. Panic is a really good one. I really wish I could break my own rules and go back and apply this to pandemic. That would have been perfect. But since I can't do that, I think I'm going to go with Scythe, because something happens in Scythe sometimes where you're building up your economy, you're just putting out villagers, you're building some buildings, and everyone's kind of doing their own thing. Then there's this moment where you realize that, that person's about to wipe out all my stuff. I kind of forgot we could attack each other in this game. So this moment of panic sets in where all these mechs come over to your empire and just blow you off the table. The person has no regard for life, for the villagers, or the popularity track. They just want to conquer and dominate as much land as possible. And it does set off a little panic. All right, I feel like that was kind of my first tough one I didn't feel great about. So hopefully we kind of have a nice rebound here. And we're going to do that with the word cheerful. I'm not going to overcomplicate this one. I'm going to go with what I think is the most cheerful game left on the list, and that is Everdell. Cute little world with animals in the forest and little worker placement stuff and collecting cute resources. Just a pretty overall cheerful vibe. So easy pick, Everdell, cheerful. All right, I rebounded well from that last one with cheerful, and up next we have realistic. Ooh, realistic, that's a good one. I think for realistic, I'm going to do apples to apples, because that's what the game science is all about. People do a card, they're like, which one matches that the most accurately? What's the most real representation of that? Now, that's the most boring way to play the game. You should really just try to make people laugh. It often does kind of come down to what is the most real, accurate definition of that thing. So apples to apples. All right, and up next we have the word energetic. For energetic, I'm just going to go with Dominion, because at least the way I play the game on my turn, I'm ready to go and you just kind of boom, 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 play your cards out, make your purchases, and you just go to the next player. So it's an extremely fast-paced game if you want it to be. I feel like some of these words have been positive so far. I've knocked off a lot of the games that I like. So hopefully there's enough negative ones in here to match all the games I don't like still left to choose from. So with that, we're going to go to adventurous. Adventurous is another positive word that really I could apply thematically to lots of games out here. I'm going to go with the Crew though, because the Crew feels like such an adventure. Every time I play it, every time I teach it, it's always learning that new group of people, kind of realizing what cards you can and can't play to kind of get that trick done. It is kind of an adventure. If you play the Crew, you're like, well, how are we going to win the blue 5 when you don't have any blues in your hand? It's sort of an adventure to figure out without too much communication how you can get certain people certain cards. So the Crew, I feel pretty good about that one. And there's a story that's all about an adventure to the 9th planet, so it fits in 2 ways. All right, I'm ready for some hate coming up here soon, and we have, hysterical. I'm going to go with Scrabble for hysterical, as in I am hysterically bad at the game of Scrabble. I am good at systems. I like math and engineering and how things kind of work and take apart. I don't do it well with words. With words, I am so bad at looking at a word and seeing how it can combine into new words. So once in a while, I'll still play Scrabble, and I'm reminded just how hysterically horrible I am at that game. I always get crushed. I would say what number we're on, but I've completely lost track and I'm just pulling out cards and we have Tricky. Oh, I wish I still had the crew. That would have been perfect for Tricky since you take tricks. Codenames. Codenames my word for Tricky because if you played Codenames, you know sometimes you're like, I got a word and there are 5 words out there that match it. And you say it and your teammate's like, I don't see any. It's an interesting little puzzle to figure out. How high do you want to shoot when you play Codenames? But let's be real, that's the second best choice because the crew would have been perfect. And next up we have the word absurd, which looked really absurd upside down. I was trying to pronounce absurd. Absurd, man, that's a hard one. I'm sort of tempted to go with, you know what? We're going with Monopoly. I give it some credit. It's 90 years old. Some people bash it like it's the worst thing ever. It is like an almost 90-year-old game. I get it. It's just from a different era. But it's absurd that it's still the one that's sold on the shelf. It's almost like just a tradition where you have to buy Monopoly. Everyone knows this. Everyone jokes about, oh yeah, Monopoly was miserable with my family. Or, oh yeah, it went on for hours and we never actually finished the game of Monopoly. There are shorter games out there that are perfect for families to play. But for some reason, Monopoly is just the one. It's the one sold on shelves. It's the one that, there's a new show that comes out, they're going to make a Monopoly version of it. All the cities have Monopolies. So it's absurd that it's somehow maintained this force it is like for all these years. So Monopoly, I think it was a great thing for the development of board games 90 years ago, but it just needs to die down a little bit. Up next we have, I can't grab one, okay, there we go. Up next we have, Obnoxious. I knew there'd be some negative ones coming up here soon. For Obnoxious, I'm going with Ticket to Ride, but not for the reasons you might think. I'm choosing Ticket to Ride because I am obnoxious in Ticket to Ride. I don't try to connect all the routes. I don't try to go for more route cards and get 4 or 5 routes connected. I just draw 2 cards every turn. Colors I want, I take them. If there's not, just draw 2 at the top, maybe you'll get a wild. And then just build routes of 6, maybe 5 if you have to. You'll end the game really quickly. You score tons of points for routes of 6. It's probably the best way to win the game, but it's pretty obnoxious for everyone else who maybe they really like connecting the routes and with the game to take a while and have all the pretty routes connected, and we're all racing for routes and racing for spots. They can be like, I blocked you, and I blocked you, and I blocked you, and I'm just like, I'll take the 6 green there, and okay, I'll take the 6 blue there. So I'm a little obnoxious. Don't play with me. Sorry. Okay, and up next we have the word calming. Calming. I think of all the games I have left, and really maybe any of the 20 games, Wingspan is the most calming. Wingspan is a beautiful game where you're gonna be feeding birds and collecting them onto your board. The birds give you some special powers and you'll get better and better as the game goes along, but the whole game has a really just nice, chill, calming aesthetic. So Wingspan it is. And now we're going on to Elegant. Elegant is such a good word. I'm really torn between 2. Viticulture, which is you're making wine and you're picking grapes. It's very elegant feel. Or Azul, where the whole game is just sort of like picking up tiles that go onto your board and make pretty patterns. So, I don't know. I'm going to go with Azul. Maybe it's slightly more elegant. I hear people say, I just love making the patterns, and it maybe more things will apply to viticulture later. At least I hope that's true. So elegant, Azul, and we have the word clever. Once again, viticulture is kind of in the running. So viticulture is a very clever game, especially since there's the layers of viticulture. You kind of play it at first and you're like, oh, it's just a very relaxing game. Just make some wine. But as you play it more, it's pretty strategic, and the player who's more clever is probably going to win. But of course, chess would be really good too, because chess is an extremely clever game and you have to be very smart to play chess. And I think I'm going to go with viticulture. Chess is a little more pure strategy, just brains maybe, and viticulture, it's going to say it's a little more clever. Let's just go with viticulture. I'm going to be confident in that. So viticulture is clever. All right, on to the next word, and we have ancient. Chess. That's perfect. This is like, that was an easy choice. There you go, ancient. Chess. All right, we're on to our final 4, and they are Seven Wonders Duel, Catan, Carcassonne, and Splendor. And just for fun, I'll let you know, one of these 4 games I think is amazing. Great game. One is pretty good. One I think is a little worse than average, and one I don't really like that much at all. So it's going to be really interesting what comes out of that box. And with that, let's see what our next word is here. And we are going with polite. Polite. For polite, we're going to go with Splendor. Because when someone says, Ryan, would you like to play Splendor? I politely say, yes, I would like to play Splendor. And I play it and have a good attitude the whole time. That worked pretty well. Up next here, we have Friendly. I don't know if any of the main three games are really that friendly. Seven Wonders Duel is definitely not friendly. Catan is not friendly at all. Everyone's always mad at somebody for taking a spot they want to go to. So I guess we're going to go with Carcassonne, which could be played kind of friendly depending on your group. My group does not play it friendly. We're always trying to block each other's castles and jump on and steal points, but this is kind of where it gets tough. We're stuck with Carcassonne for friendly. All right, we are down to Catan and Seven Wonders Duel and 2 words left in the box. And I love Seven Wonders Duel, so hopefully I can find a good word to put with it. Entertaining. Well, I'm not choosing Catan, so we're going to go with Seven Wonders Duel is entertaining. And that leaves us one final word in the box. So whatever comes out of this is the perfect and authoritative description of the game of Catan. And that is awesome. Catan is awesome. All you people who've turned on Catan the last few years and say you hate it and you never liked it and it's a horrible game, you're wrong, because we had decided authoritatively that Catan is awesome. Thanks so much for checking out the video. Hopefully you had a few good laughs along the way. If you would like to subscribe to the channel, you will see more board game videos like this one. See ya.